Okay, I will start the meeting and this presentation. Thanks to all for join me today on this presentation. I want to talk about MPARR 2, the new version of Microsoft Purview Advanced Reach Report. And today, the main idea is try to explain all the new architecture, all the new stuff. I will be a demo related how works this new solution. And please feel free to ask me or uh, comment any of these new capabilities. Okay, let's go. If you're not aware about Emper yet, MPARR or Microsoft Purview Advanced Reach Report is a solution that I was building with the help of other colleagues on Microsoft. And this solution permit collect all the logs from the Office 365 Management API and enrich the data with other information that coming from other services like the Azure Right Management Service or AIP service, Microsoft Graph API, and the Office 365 Exchange Line API. We have another script that doesn't use any API, but help us to send some information to Logs Analytics. And today we are presenting the new connector to Even Have. In that order of idea, I will show today how we can do a simple installation from zero, or if you are using Emper today, how we can migrate easily your current configuration and start using the script. Emper is a suite of script. Today, another new deal, a new feature that we are adding to Emper, and I will show you that, is the versioning capability. That versioning capability permits us right now to update online Emper and check if we have a new script or we need to do something. In general, for the new people that are now is the first time with Emper, I will explain a little more, 5 minutes, about what means the Office 365 Management API. Today, almost all the activities that are happening on Microsoft 365, Microsoft Purview related to Microsoft 365, or Microsoft Entra related to Microsoft 365, are sent through this auditing pipeline to this kind of height Microsoft 365 audit storage. This is the source used by the Unified Audit Logs or Microsoft Purview Audit and Activity Explorer. But today, something that happened is Activities Explorer. You can only see the last 30 days of information and some end user activities only. With a Purview audit, you can request more data and pass the data, but you need to know certain kind of operations. You are not aware about all the activities that are happening. Today, you have more than 700 different operations that are available. When we say Microsoft 365 services, we are talking not only the common services like SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, Exchange. We are talking about additionally like Power BI, Power Apps, Forms, Planner, Stream, and several other services that are running. E-discovery, alerts, any tool that you are using on Purview is collected as well. Today, more than 40 different schemas are collecting in this storage that include Copilot now, and are grouped in 5 content blocks. The Office 365 Management API permits us to download all that information, and this script that today run on PowerShell 7 can be installed on Windows Server or Windows 11, and through a task on the task scheduler and using a timestamp file to manage the delta of the information, we are sending the data to Logs Analytics or Event Hub. Someone is asking about uh, Azure automation. In that case, we are talking about a serverless solution. I have that on my roadmap. Not yet. I was resolving some initial challenge that we have. The first challenge was the event have, but now the next challenge is one related to some changes that come in Logs Analytics. And the idea is resolve that previous to start seeing the options to create a solution serverless. The big deal with the serverless is this API. This API is too old, and the only way to use it, and I will show you what we are doing, is through PowerShell 5, and it's not supported in several things on cloud. With a runbook that is mentioned on the chat, there is a way to do something, but as I mentioned, isn't on the roadmap. But first of all, we are finishing some initial steps that are required to have a complete solution, and then start adding that new capabilities. In general, additionally to the MPARR 1 with the common script, we are adding some additional script that I will show you. The M365 Cloud Statistics. This one helps us to get the information about total active files on SharePoint, total active files on OneDrive, and total site active on SharePoint. That is used for some new report related to this another script that is available, that is the Content Explorer. That is a script that permits to download all the information from Content Explorer to store in Logs Analytics or send to Event Hub. And from there, we will have the capability to create some rich report saying, I have some samples, but not yet available. With this release, I will start working to release a new report next week. But to say, as an example, I have 1 million of files, that is the active files on SharePoint, and only 10,000 have labels, to say something. Or maybe the 50% of my files today have sensitivity labels. That are the big deals today with this option. The connector to Event Hub give us the capability to send the data to different kind of data lakes, databases, Fabric, or third-party SIEM solution. Something that was added to each script, I will show you how you can use it, is the options to export to CSV format and export to JSON format. Why? Because if you have some knowledge on Event Hub, to manage the data here and send to other kind of repos, we need the structure of the data. And to easily see the structure of the data, we are adding the options to export to JSON format. That is in general. And now let me show. The solution, all the script was updated morning. If you're looking for MPARR in any search engine, the first link that you will find are the ones related to Microsoft Purview Advanced Reach Report. And here we can see that we have the public release for MPARR, all the script that are needed. Or if you want to download all at once, okay, it's pending. I have pending to upload the zip. Appeared that I was not press send yet, but we will have a zip file with all the content. The previous version was moved to the legacy folder. You can still see all the previous version of Emper, but I will show to you how we can use the new version. As I mentioned, you can download all the files, or in this case, I will download only the MPARR setup to show the configuration. Here, to show all the steps, I am using Windows Server 2019. Let me validate. Here, system, about. You can see here, I am using Windows Server 2019 to show all the considerations that we need for this. I will take only this file, Emper setup. I will move to C. Let me create a folder for collector. I will put here. And the only thing that we need is have a Windows PowerShell 7. First thing, by default, Windows Server and some Windows 11 have the execution policy set on sign it or remote sign it. For this moment, we will change the execution policy to bypass, but the same script as the same does of the previous version, you have the options to create a self-sign certificate and sign all the script to change the configuration, the execution policy to remote sign it less. Okay, let me go here. I will bypass, and now I will execute the new MPARR setup script. The first thing that we can do here, and we can see, is install all the modules that we need. There is a module, the AP service module, that still use Windows PowerShell 5. I will show you that the MPARR RMS collector, RMS data script, is still working with the Windows PowerShell 5, but we will be available to execute from Windows PowerShell 7. What's happened, something that we built is an special function that call some specific script that run in a background on PowerShell 5 to get the data, and then the data is back to PowerShell 7, and we made all the rest of working on PowerShell 7. I will show that. Let me try to install this. I just installed this Windows Server. It's totally new. The only thing that I prepared was the Windows PowerShell 7. You can see here the step is start implementing all the configuration. The other previous step that I did, and that is in the documentation, but by the way, I will update during the next week all the documentation about installation guide and the information on the page. Let me connect here. Okay. What we need to have previously created is a log analytics workspace. In this case, I create this one. Create a logs analytics in workspace is a very easy task. We can reuse, if you're using Sentinel, we can reuse our logs analytics, or you can create a new one. The only thing that you need to do is select the resource group, give a name, and that is all for the logs analytics workspace creation. Now, back to PowerTool. Here we can see that all the modules that are required are installed. At the beginning, you can see the list of the PowerTool modules that are required. Okay, we are almost done. After this process finished, we are exit from the installation menu from this setup, and we need to run again to load all the modules. That is the only thing. And here we can see that we can have a new installation. We will do that. We can encrypt the password used on this solution. Locally, all the password are encrypted. We can set the different task schedulers for each script. There is something that I will explain with the Microsoft licensing. We have the options to migrate. I have another previous installation in another server. I will show you that. I will show you the options to Emper on the web. We can check for new versions, see the changes, and update Emper. And as I mentioned previously, we can sign the Emper script. Let's start with the installation. I will select the number 1. In the first login, we need someone with permissions over the Azure subscription. We will request 2 times to be logged on. The first one is for the Azure subscription to get all the subscription. If you have more than one subscription, you will see first the list of subscription, and then after you select the subscription from your Azure tenant, you can select the workspace. As I mentioned, I created something previously, that MPARR02. Now I need to log in again. In this case, the recommendation is as a global admin in your Microsoft 365 tenant, because on Azure, you will see here on Microsoft Entra, an application will be created. All that previously was doing in the first version of this was doing all that manually, but after we release the the setup, we are adding all that activities to here. Now we can see we will create here a task called MPARR2 data collector. If you want, you can change the name. In this case, I will use the default configuration. All the API permissions that are required as added in the background. Then for certain kind of a script, we will need to use a secret key, and for others, we will need to use a certificate. In this case, we will install this certificate called Emper Data Collector. If you want to change the name, you can do as well. The certificate is valid for 12 months. You can change and set the valid data for 12 months to 36 months, 3 years. If you need, you can export the certificate as well to have an export. All this configuration is set in a file that is called laconfig.json file. It's the same file that is used for the previous version of Emper, and I will show you what we can do is move only that file to have all the configuration and use that configuration as well. I don't want to back up the certificate. Then this is a description for the secret key. I will not change the description. Here is all the information. Emper works with not only with commercials, it works with GCC, GCC High, and DoD. In this case, we'll work with commercial tenant. Then coming the default location for logs, we will use RMS logs and logs. Here coming something very important is the new configuration for event half. Here we need to take care. If you set to true the event half, MPARR will send all the information only to event half. If it's set on false, that means we can export the data manually to event half, and the information will be sent to logs analytics by default. Let's see. I want to change the configuration. I will say yes, but I want to maintain the execution of any of those scripts as a manual and not automatically to send all the data to logs analytics. But if I need to send some information to event half, I can do manually. Now I need the event half namespace. In this case, let's go to event half. I previously created this event half. This is the namespace. I will take the namespace. And then I need the instance. The instance is this entity that appears here. In this case, my configuration is sending the data to a content block, and we will see that information. We take the event half instance name, we add to our configuration, and now the configuration for my the event half connector is done. And that is all the process. What is pending? What is pending? I will go to Microsoft Entra, as I mentioned here on app registration. Here is MPARR2 data collector. And in this one, we need to grant the permissions to the APIs. Another very important point, let me back to the diagram. This specific script needs some elevate privilege. In this case, I will give the elevate privilege to the application, but we will see that now all the script have the options for a manual connection. All the script have the options for manual connection. In the previous version, you needed to make some changes on some lines on the script. Now we have an attribute for the for manual connection that simplify if you want to execute this set of script manually. Unfortunately, the API for this specific requirement doesn't have any other option that execute with elevate privilege. That is the only thing to have in mind here. Okay, we have another question. Any new permissions? Yes, we will see that a new permission is required, but the same script on the migration process, we have here a menu for migration. Let me show you very quick. If I select the number 5, I have here the additional permissions that can be needed, and the same script add those permissions to the previous application. The other thing that, as I mentioned, that is very important is encrypt the keys. Encrypt the keys. Okay, that is a mistake I need to identify. Let me see what's happened with that specific. Let me see if something was wrong. Here we have the LA config file. Well, I need to review the message, but you can see here that the keys was encrypted. are hashed. Here we can see that all the keys are hashed and are protected. That encryption is using the local machine and the logged user. That means if someone take this file and move to another computer, or someone else log in with another credentials on this computer, this file will not work because the hash, the encryption for that file is with the logged user and the matching ID. But we don't have yet the rest of the script. Something that I can do, I don't know why I have pending to upload the zip. You can download the zip. Normally, I put in the root a zip file that contain all the files, or you can download manually one by one, or now with the new script, something that we can do is using the option Emper on the web, and let me put the file explorer here to show you, is I will go to Emper on the web 6. I can see what's happened with the new script, and here I can see all the script. And in this case, I don't have any version except the MPARR setup. The MPARR setup is the only one that is have the latest version, but the rest of files doesn't exist. In that case, the only thing that I need to do is press 2. And here you can see that now all the files are downloaded in your site. And now, if we check again about the script, we will see that all the scripts are up to date. If we have news, we will see that we have information about that. Something that we can do is validate if we have any new configuration. That is the what's new. Let me show you something very quickly. This is only a little exercise. But if I change the version, as I mentioned, we added a version into all the files. And I will go again to the Emper on the web. Check about new script. I will see here that in this case, we can see that I have an old version because I changed the version. Every time that we will start sending new versions to the MPARR GitHub, we will manage the version that will give to you the visibility. If you have an old version, what is new in the new version, and you will be available to update, pressing this one, and only the new files will be changed. And here we can see that only the file that I changed was updated. That is one of the big challenge and the new features that we have available here. I will show you in a while. I have a previous version on Emper in another virtual machine. I will show you how we can do the migration. And then we can set the task. We have in the previous version, we was immediately creating the task for the MPARR collector and MPARR RMS. Now you can select one by one, create the MPARR collector task, create the MPARR RMS task. I separate this one by API. In that case, we can see the tasks that are related to the Microsoft Graph API. The Microsoft Graph API doesn't need elevate privilege. For that reason, it's not a big deal to set this one. But for the last one, in this case, for this one, we need elevate privilege, and this one are required to execute on demand. In that case, someone with compliance administrator using the manual connection can execute this script instead to set a task, except if you are available to enable those elevate privilege. That is in general, and the last step for all of this is, well, we have this one pending. In the previous version, this is very important. One of the tasks that we needed to execute was a very long string to upload. What's happened? We have a folder that is not available here. We will create that folder. But when you export the data from Microsoft Entra about users related to license, the data that coming is coming with short names or some IDs. With this specific one, what we are doing is creating a folder that go to a public page on Microsoft that contain that list of friendly names and upload that data in Logs Analytics. In that case, I will select the number 1, and we will see that the support folder is created, and immediately that information was sent to Logs Analytics. Then we can create a task for that, or if we want to check if this list is have an update, we can use the menu to update that file. And finally, what we can do is sign the script. Selecting sign the script, we can install a new certificate. This one create a self-signed certificate for a script. We will see a pop-up here saying that we need to accept the script. And after that, we need to install the certificate. And after that, we can install the certificate to all our script. I will select number 1. And now all our scripts are signed. This is very important to change the execution policy. Something that is very common with Windows Server and the task scheduler is no matter that you set the execution policy on bypass, if you are using Windows Server and you set a task on the task scheduler calling a script, a PowerShell script, that configuration doesn't work. The only way is sign the script to run on a Windows Server. Let me show you very quick. I'll create a task on the task scheduler. I will select the first one, but it's the same task for all the time. We will see the folders on the task scheduler. This one is recommend to create this folder called MPARR2. We will do. You can change at any time. And now, if I go to the task on task scheduler, here we can see that we have the folder MPARR2, and here is the script ready to run. That is all the configuration. As I mentioned, something that is pending here is give the compliance administrator, if you want to run an attendant, all the script that use that Office 365 Exchange Online API. Again, is this set of script that you can see here. The rest of the script doesn't need any kind of elevate privilege. I will select here compliance administrator, add assignment. Let me look in for MPARR2. MPARR2. Here is the application. Next. MPARR collector. Assign. And that will be all. And let me show you. We will run the script. We will add with the Microsoft Entra one, MPARR Microsoft Entra domains. As I mentioned, by default, the data is sent to logs analytics. But you can see here that we have the options to export to CSV, export to JSON, manual connection, and create a task. If you are downloading script by script, in all the script, you have the options to create the same task that we are doing with the setup script, but in this case, we can do with the same script. I will use the options export to even have. And in this case, the information is, okay, I need, sorry, my apologies. One additional step that is required. I just created the new application. My apologies for that. Let me show you here on even have their own permissions. That is something that we need to have in mind. And here I will access to this one. And here we have an access control. We need to set the permissions. You can see here that previously I was adding other permissions. We need to set these permissions. Azure even have data center, role assignment, data center is only to send data, nothing else. We will select the members. We will select MPARR 2. Select, review, and assign. And now we are ready to send data to even have. Normally, this can take a few minutes, but let's see if we have lucky. If not, we will see the same, but you can see here, the information was sent. I will show you in a while that data. Now we can use the Microsoft Entra roles. By default, is sending all the data to logs analytics. If I want to change this behavior to send directly to even have instead to logs analytics, in the original configuration, and there is another option on the setup. Let me show you on the setup. In the same setup, you can do manually, but I will show you that you can do on the same setup. Emper to setup. Here we have in the migrate process, the option to configure even have connector. In this case, we can select that one. You can see that export to even have enable is set to false. In this menu, we can change the configuration and set on true. If it's set on true, all the information that we will send by default, we will send to even have instead of logs analytics. That is in general, or as I mentioned previously, in the config file folders, and here this is something very important with the previous version. The previous version, the LA config file and the schemas.json file was located on the root. Now all the files are located here in the config file. In this case, the other option is the only thing that you need to come in here and change false by true, and is the same configuration. But you can use the setup to simplify that specific step. We was exporting right now the Entra roles. We send the Entra roles to logs analytics. We have pending to send users. And here coming another very important point that was added as an add-in on the past, but now is the main script. In the previous, we was having the get Azure ID user, but this new get Microsoft Entra users use this JSON file. this JSON file contains all the attributes that you can find in a user in your organization. If you do an export, these are all the possible attributes. If you want to get an attribute like country in your data, you need come in here and change the value from false to true for country. And in that case, the information from country will be get every time that you execute the Microsoft Entra user script. Let me come in here. In the first configuration, the first time that you run this script, you will be asked, I need to check, sorry, some mistake there. But here is something very important. The default filter is, by default, you will get only the users that have license in your environment. If you want to collect all the users with license or without license and guest user, you need to change the configuration and press C. On this case, on my demo environment, I have more than 50,000 of demo dummy account. For that reason, I will not start to downloading all of that because take a lot of time. But I will only download the local information, and here I can see that the information was downloaded and exported to Logs Analytics. But I want to see this information in a CSV. Executing this one and using the same MPARR Entra ID, I will obtain that information. Let me go here, export the data, and here I have a CSV file. Let me only with the notepad for the moment. And here we can see all the information from all my users in a CSV format. That is one of the advantage to, or if you want to see the same information, but in JSON, because you need to know the specific structure for that user, we can use export to JSON. And in that case, here on the same folder, we will see that we have the JSON file, and here we can see all the data for all the users and all the information that you are getting for those users. Okay, we have our users, we have our domains, roles. The other script that we have, the main script is the Emper collector. We will put that one at the final. The other one is the Microsoft 365 Cloud Statistics. That is the other one that use the Microsoft Graph API connector. Here is getting the data and sending by default to Logs Analytics. This script can be very helpful if you know about something about the Microsoft Graph, because we are using this JSON file. And here you can see that the JSON file have 3 calls. If you want to get more information, the only thing that you need to do is add other information that you need to this same specific JSON file, and the same script will start getting other kind of information. That means in the next weeks, we will start reviewing if we need to update this report to get other information that can be very helpful for the report. That is one of the most important point when we get that information. And again, this same information, if you want, you can export to JSON file, or you can send to event hub. Let me show you. And information is sent to event hub. The Emper RMS file, this script, have a big change because now the script is executed on PowerShell 7, but in the background call two scripts that are located in this config file, and those scripts run on PowerShell 5. The same script on PowerShell 7 generate a specific call, and that specific call, that specific procedure call a PowerShell 5 in the backend to get the to run this script. Let me execute the script, Emper. The other big deal with the RMS data we can see here, this is running. What is happening is getting the data, and the data is creating here. This is the logs. Now, for each information that it found, is creating this tracking log, and every time that finish, all the document that this API works in that way, download locally the files, but after finish, all the information is zip. That is the way that works, and here we can see all the information that was sent to logs analytics in this case. Now, let me force to send to Event Hub. I want to show what's happened. If the data was downloaded previously, the script will not download this information again. For that reason, I am deleting the files. But again, I can use the options to export to JSON file, sorry, or Event Hub or CSV. I will send to Event Hub as well. And here we can see this one is running, is creating the files are detected, we create the tracking logs, and then we can trace all the information, and all of that was sent now to Event Hub. Let me show you with previous information on Event Hub. On my case, my Event Hub is sending to content blob. I'm using something very simple. I am sending the data from Event Hub to content blob. This is the one. Here on containers. Here we can see the data. This is it's a little complex, so sometimes I show the data here, but let's see. Here you can have an idea about the data that is sent to Event Hub. It's a kind of JSON format because I set the content blob to receive in that way. And from here, you can start sending to, as I mentioned, to different kind of data lakes, databases, Fabric, or other third-party CM solution. That is the way that work this Event Hub. And we have the RMS data is running. Now we need to we have the other ones, Purview roles, sensitivity labels, Purview seeds, that are some more sophisticated script and need elevate privilege. I will start with the Purview roles. And as I mentioned, if you don't want to give, the elevate privilege, what we can do is use the option manual connection. With the manual connection, you can avoid give elevate privilege to the script, and the script is execute in the backend, and it works fine. That is we can export and to even have to CSV to JSON file, and in all the cases, the data is sent to here to export data folder. Any other questions? Okay, here let me show you this another that we export previously. Here is the data, and if we go to logs analytics, this that is another big change as well. You need to take care. The main tables remains with the same name. All the information about the Office 365 Management API and the RMS coming from the are stored in the same tables, but the new ones, the Entra domains, Entra roles, and Entra user are sent to these new tables. Please, I will need 1 minute. Give me a moment. Okay, my apologies for the interruption. Here we have something. I will release the new version of the templates. Previously, the information about HRID users, HRID domains, HRID roles was using that same tables, and now those tables was renamed. But the ones related to audit, the Office 365 Management API and the RMS, that are the biggest one that collects several information, that one are maintain the same name. That is very important to have in mind. Okay, we can see here that, let me get this information as an example. And here we can see the result about the data that is sent to Logs Analytics. Let me finish with the rest of the script. I was running this one, call it Purview roles. I can do the same for sensitivity labels and Purview sensitivity labels, the same. If I cannot add the elevate privilege to the app, the only thing that I need to do is add the options to manual connection. And with the manual connection, I will redirect, I will give my credentials to run the script, and the script is getting the data. And I will run the the last one. There is another script, the Content Explorer data, that take a lot of time, but I will try to explain very quick to go then how we can finally migrate from an existing configuration, from a previous configuration. This is sensitivity labels. The other one is Purview seat. From a previous installation of Emper, how we can move to the new version. Here you can see that I am getting now without the manual connection, because I give the elevate privilege on my case, but I was trying to move us to show as well the options to export using the manual connection. Give me a moment. Okay, and here we can see I will execute the main script that is the Emper collector. This is all the information from the Office 365 Management API. This file, this script, as I mentioned previously, create a timestamp file that is set here on logs and permit us to, every time that the script is executed, only get the delta of the information, not request all the time all the data. And if you need, this same information can be exported to even half, can be exported to JSON file, can be exported to CSV. In all the cases, when you select the command, you can see that you have the different options: the export to CSV, export to JSON, export with file, and create the task, and export to even half. We have all the options available for all the script. This one, MPARR Content Explorer Data, is very special. And I was not presenting that one. I share only when it was created, but let me explain what's happened. If you go today to the Microsoft Purview portal, that is compliance.microsoft.com, here under classifiers, data classification, we can see the Content Explorer. The big deal with the Content Explorer is we can see information all label by label, sensitive information by sensitive information, trainable classifier, the same. Is very complex to start looking or have a big view about the total amount of sensitivity labels per OneDrive, per SharePoint, that kind of stuff. What's happened? Few months ago, a commandlet was released, and to use this commandlet, you need to have some level of expertise, because you can export a limit of 10,000 records. And we can see on Content Explorer that we have 100,000 or millions of files that match. And to get all the information, we need to pay in the data. And there is other requirement to execute. We cannot get all the data at once. We need to select the tag type that can be sensitive information types, sensitivity labels, trainable classifier, or retention labels. We need for each one select the name of the sensitive info type, the name of the retention label, the name of the sensitivity label, or the name of the trainable classifier, and the workload. That can be so complex sometimes, and we don't have time to do that. In that order of idea, the MPARR Content Explorer data that is added in the installation use the files that we can find here. The first one is, let me open with a notepad, the tag type. If you want to download information only about sensitive information types, or only sensitivity labels, or only retention, you can change the value from true to false and select the specific information that you want to download. In this case, I will set this one on false, and I will do the exercise only with sensitivity labels. Then we have this one that is related to the workloads. Again, if you want to download the information from Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, you can select changing through by false. I will select OneDrive and SharePoint in this case. And we have another JSON for trainable classifier. In this case, doesn't exist today on PowerTools, some commandlet to get the list of trainable classifiers. For that reason, I built the traditional trainable classifier that's coming on compliance. If you have others, you can add manually to this list. But okay, what's happened with sensitive information types or sensitivity labels? I don't want to happens a lot with the sensitive information types. At least in my case, I have more than 400, and maybe several of you doesn't want to download information about, I don't know, China or Japan or Australia because it's not part of your business. In that case, what we can do is execute the same MPARR Content Explorer, but with the options to create the JSON files. When we execute the MPARR Content Explorer data using the create JSON files, what's happened? This script will create 3 new JSON files, one with all the sensitivity labels that are created on my tenant, another with all the sensitive information types, including the custom ones that are created on my tenant, and the other one with the retention labels. I will get a JSON file for each service. When we say each service, we are talking about this one: sensitive information types, sensitivity labels, retention labels, and trainable classifiers. And here you can see that I have now the sensitive information type list, retention labels, sensitivity labels. The only thing that I need to is open any of these ones and change the value from true to false if I want to avoid download certain kind of data. That can be very helpful. This specific script have an option that if you need, you can do a mass export to CSV. If you use this option, a folder will be created here, call it Content Explorer Data Export, and all the information, instead to send to Logs Analytics, will be created on a CSV format. I will put to run here. We will see that is reading the files. And we will see the definitions, sensitivity, OneDrive, SharePoint. We have the page size set. We can change that value as well. But here you can see here that I will start having, if I don't have returns, this error CSV file. That is because I am executing a query, and for that a specific combination about sensitivity label, OneDrive doesn't return anything for that reason. But for the rest, we will see that the CSV files are creating, getting more data, and all the CSV files will be here. Now, let me, instead of time, meanwhile, this one is to start running. You can see it's to start generating. I will show to you the migration. Here you can see that I have the previous installation of Emper. I will show you. Here on C, I have my Emper collector. This is the common one, and this folder is empty. And this one we can see here in the LA config file. The app client ID is this one. Let me copy the app client ID. And if we go to Azure, let me go to app registration. This is the previous configuration. This is MPARR data collector. The other one is MPARR 2. This is another installation. And let's go to make the migration. I can do the same exercise. I can download all the files, or the only thing that I need to do is here on the new folder, we will need a new folder. We can download the MPARR setup script only. Let me go here, MPARR setup, MPARR 2. Where is MPARR setup? This one. I will download. Keep. Control X. Emper collector, Emper2, Control B. On the migration, we have several options. We can easily migrate, use the same the same files, or we can update the files, or we can migrate only the configuration files. There is several options, almost all the options I believe that are covered. Let me see if I forget some option, but in general, this can be very simple. Let me go to execute MPARR2 setup. MPARR2. Here we can see someone was asking about the updates. We need a new a new PowerTool module. In that case, we can identify that that module doesn't exist, and we can install only that module. But that module needs additionally new permissions in the API. We will see that this option permits us to add that specific permissions to the current API, the current application we are installing. Is expected behavior that always that after you install the PowerTool modules, the script go out, make an exit, and you need to execute it once again. That is the expected behavior. This is new, is not a new installation. We don't need to encrypt the secret. Here, this is something very important. We will create new task. For that reason, the first recommendation, and because we are using the LA config file, the first recommendation is try to disable or remove all the task. Here I am disabling all the task previous to migrate, because remember the Emper collector, every time that run, update the LA config file. We will migrate the LA config file as well to run with the new Emper collector and only start getting the delta of the information. We don't want to generate duplicity on the data. For that reason, we will migrate the timestamp, and the new Emper collector will start working with that. Let me go, in that case, to the number 5, migrate. The first thing is check if we have all the permissions on our Microsoft Entra application. We need to, I need to select where is located the LA config file. For the moment, this is the original one. We will select here, and we need to take that specific file. That is the origin. Here we are identifying the application. And now say that we need to go to this URL, but we will see what's happened. Let's go here. I will select Emper Data Collector, API permissions. And now I can see here that I have a new API permissions that need to grant admin consent. I don't paste, the URL is the same one. The only thing that I need to do is come in here and add the new permissions to this application, grant admin. And now my Microsoft Entra application is updated with the new permissions that are required that are related to reports. The PowerTool module that is needed is updated. The application is updated. Then we can set the folder structure. We can see here, this is empty. We will use the set Emper path and folder structure. We need to select where this will be allocated. I will select Emper2, select folder, And here we can see that all the folders that I need was created. Then we have two options. Migrate from a previous Emper installation that get all the files and move to these configuration folders, or if we want to download only the previous only the configuration files and use the web update, we can download all the new files immediately. I will do all the steps. Let me show you. I will select the number 3, migrate from a previous version. We need to take care to select the source, and then the destination. And here we can see that all the files was a copy to the new directory, but we are still using the old script. I will go to that part. Only we have the new structure of the folders. And something that we will do here is check the LA config file. Here, if we saw the LA config file, here we can see the structure, but the new structure have the even have connector. In that case, I will use the number 5 to check the consistency. I will look in here on config file, LA config file, open any key, and let's see what's happened with the file. Reload, and now I have the new information. If you have inclusive a very old version of this one, the LA config file, the Microsoft Entra config doesn't exist as well, and this one can be at that configuration. And now I want to configure the even have connector. I want to change the configuration. I will set to automatically here. I will change to automatically. The even have namespace and the even have instance. Let me go very quick there. Even have. This is the even have namespace. That is the first one that we need here. Even have namespace. And then we need to the even have instance. That is this one. Here you can see even have instance. I will get this one. But because I migrate all the old files, the old script doesn't have the capabilities to send to even have. In that case, I need to go back to this one. I can replace. I can download the zip with all the new files, or I can come into the same setup menu and update from the web. And in that case, all the new files are downloading and replacing the data. And let's see what's happened. Here on MPARR 2, I have, well, all the files. I need to maybe create something to move the script to a backup. But in general, now all the new scripts are here. The same that have the same names are replaced with the new one. And that is all related to the migration from an old version to the new one, and then we can set up the task on the task scheduler with the new task folder. We saw all of that. And let me back in the back, because we was running that mass export to CSV, and now you can see that it's still running. Appear that select a big one, but here you can see that all the information about sensitivity labels, confidential, legal over OneDrive Here we can see the complete name is getting in this file, or this one, highly confidential, all employees. It's the same if you are running the script, but in this case, you can see all the data. And the same in the summary, you will see that you can find the commandlet that I am executing on PowerTool. And if you need to make any change, you can do that change or execute the command again. And that is, we still have 10 minutes. If you have any question or comment, I am updating the information in this moment in the GitHub page. I am updating the diagrams. You can see now the new diagram, the new detailed information. I am updating. I will update during the next week the installation guide. I will update in the template, because remember the tables for HRID users was renamed to Microsoft Entra User, Microsoft Entra Domains, Microsoft Entra Roles. And with this, we can start creating several new reports and having the connection to even have open a lot of new capabilities to get the data and manage your information. Yes, someone is asking for the new Power BI template for Content Explorer. Yes, I am working in some of those report. Let me show you. I'm still working with some the different way to show the data. This is only a preview. It's not ready yet, but I hope to release soon. Here you can see the total amount of OneDrive files, and here we can see how many of those files contain sensitivity information types, sensitivity labels, and how that information is separate on sensitive information types or sensitivity labels. This is an overview, and then we can see the information by each service, or inclusive. Here we are adding the information that coming from the MIP scanner. If you're running the MIP scanner, here you can find the information as well to have a complete overview about your data. That today make a lot of sense with the Copilot in our front front door, because we need to have an idea about, okay, how many files that I am covering, how many files are needed to label or contain sensitivity information that I need to see. You can see here, this is the total amount of files, and only 600 of the files contain sensitivity labels. That permit to have a complete idea about your data, what we can do, what is happening, and more. And there is other report that I am working on at the same time, but you can see here at least to have an idea about what is happening in our environment. Any other questions, comment, feedback? After finish this call, I will upload in a while this video to our YouTube channel, aka.ms emper.youtube. So please remember to give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to know more. I will start uploading other videos, other information to the same channel. I really appreciate your participation today. Thanks for joining me on this presentation, and I hope that today with Emper 2, you can get a lot of new information and get a lot of new stuff in your site. Have a great weekend. Thanks to all.